Hey, how's it going, Amy? Good to see you.
Yes, hello. Good morning. It's good evening in your time.
Yeah, good evening in my time and good morning in your time. How's everything
Yeah,
going?
fine, thanks. It's okay.
Good, good, that's good. Normally, is it, today is a working day in Saudi, right?
No, they changed the vacations days.
So it's
As
Friday and Saturday,
yes, it's Friday and Saturday.
not Thursday, Friday.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yesterday when you told that you have a lecture on Friday, I said, okay, it's Friday. Then I saw your schedule that you have. I said, oh yes, we are before you.
Yeah,
Yes, in the Middle East.
exactly. You guys are one day ahead. So it's
Yes,
Saturday morning in Saudi and it's still Friday night here in the US.
yes.
So that's good. Did you do anything interesting recently?
Yes, we go to the something like yesterday we go to eat dinner in the place. It's for eating fish.
Uh-huh. So it's a
But
seafood restaurant?
yes, it's not like a restaurant. It's like farms or something. Yani more than a restaurant. It's like a garden, but have a lots of people.
Oh, okay. So maybe like an outdoor park. Maybe was it near the port? Was it in the port area of Jeddah near Fish?
No, it's outside of Jeddah. It's in Medina Road. Yes, but it was so hot and so dry because the weather is not helping. Even though it was at night, but it was not nice for me.
Yeah, sometimes.
I don't
Yeah, go
mm,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't like to eat seafood, but I try it now because we are I didn't eat from a long time. It's seafood, so it's not. No, I will not repeat that journey again. We
Yeah,
spent 3 hours for eating seafood. No.
3 hours. Yeah, that's a long time to go, and
Yes,
especially,
to
I mean,
go. Yes.
especially if the weather was dry and hot and stuff like that. It's probably not the best
Yes.
experience.
Yes, we go to the night, but even though the weather was bad also.
Hmm. What kind of fish did you have?
That's a hard question. I think I don't know because
Yeah,
I don't like
the
seafoods.
Yeah, the name in English is probably impossible to translate. But I mean, were they fish locally from the Red Sea, or were they maybe shrimp or other fish from maybe other areas?
Yes, they order a lots of kinds, but fish as the main dish.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a big fish, but yes, it's from Red Sea,
From the Red
and
Sea. Okay.
and I don't know. Maybe it's a shrimp, but they are so small.
Hmm.
No, no, not shrimp. The red colors that you.
Lobster
Yes, no,
or crabs?
yes, not cramps. Yes,
Not
it's
crabs.
not. No, I think it's like
Prawns?
I don't know the names.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot
Even
of
though I
them.
don't know the names in Arabic also because I don't like seafoods.
Uh-huh. These are the three that I was saying. Like the small ones that are red, usually if they have like little things like
Yes,
pincers. Those are crabs. Lobsters have big like these kind of things. Those are lobsters. And prawns are small shrimp, very small shrimp.
yes, I think it's prawns. So,
Prawns. Okay, so it's very small
yes,
shrimp. Nice. That's
yes,
that's good. People in my country, people in people from Bangladesh, we eat a lot of seafood. We actually seafood is probably our most important part of our diet because we live in a country with a lot of rivers and very close to the ocean, so everybody eats rice and seafood, but also chicken and sometimes beef, but mostly also a lot of lamb, but a lot of fish. A lot of fish. I mean, if you compare, for example, with Saudi, definitely a lot more fish in our diet.
Yes. Actually, I asked the people there yesterday a question. Is the sea fish is delicious than river fish or not? They say they don't know because they just eat the fish from the Red Sea. Because we don't have rivers to compare.
Yeah, to try the food from the river, yeah. There's a difference. There's a distinct taste. I mean, in the U.S., a lot of the fish comes from rivers and lakes, and a lot also comes from the ocean. There's a difference in taste. I think, personally, I think fish found in rivers is actually more delicious, personally for me. But there are many types. I mean, fish from Alaska, for example, that we get that's in the ocean, that they bring, from far away. It's very expensive, but it's very delicious. I mean, Alaskan salmon. Give me 1 second. I'll actually show you. I have Alaskan salmon in my refrigerator. I just defrosted it for this morning. So give me 1 second. I'm going to show it to you.
Okay.
So this right here, this is Alaskan salmon. Very delicious fish, very lean fish. It has maybe very few calories, no bones. It's a fillet, so there's no bones.
Yes.
And it's very, very delicious, very good for you. So I'm going to tomorrow for lunch, I'm going to have Alaskan salmon with maybe salad and some kind of teriyaki. I'm going to make maybe a Japanese salmon dish. So
Yes.
it's very delicious, actually. I don't know if you guys get salmon in Saudi, but this salmon is from the ocean, and it's very delicious. So
Yes. I don't know the names also for the fish, but I think it's hamur, but I don't know the name in English.
okay,
Hamur.
hamor, I have no idea either.
Yes. I think
Maybe.
they said that it's a big fish, but it's the most delicious fish dish they ask here to eat. I think
I could ask Sheikh Google. Give me 1 second.
okay.
Hamor? No, it doesn't say anything. So maybe Samach al-Humur, maybe Humur fish, but no.
Okay, I will choose images. Maybe it will help.
Do you want to just type it?
Yes,
And then
I think that's what we ate yesterday.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Let me see here. Oh, Sheikh Google. Okay. Humur Samak. Okay, yeah, this actually looks, it's called hamur, and it's, in English, it's called the greasy grouper. Okay, very interesting. I've never heard of this fish before in my entire life, but it looks very delicious, and it comes from the Red Sea, so great. Awesome.
Yes,
Thanks for sharing. Go ahead.
Thank you.
No, go ahead. Absolutely, go ahead.
Actually, I don't have any information about seafood because I really don't like it. But someday we visit some people and they bring something like that with the rice, and it was delicious. Actually, I ate it yesterday. I eat, but not so much. And
Yeah,
just
You don't like it as much as, for example, other food, right?
Yes.
What's your favorite? Do you like to eat chicken? Do you prefer chicken or red meat? Or,
Yes, it's chicken or red meat. But we
okay.
have a lots of dishes in Arabic dishes in the Middle East. It's
Yeah, like
yes, it's
kabsa,
on yes,
kabsa, for
kabsa.
example. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, I know.
Yes, kabsa.
Kabsa, the Saudi style kabsa, they put like a lot of rice, a lot of meat, like maybe chicken and fried, rice, everything together, big plate. It's really
Yes,
nice. I went to a wedding once, a friend of mine from Kuwait,
yes,
and they don't call it kabsa, they call it something else, but it was essentially the same thing. Everybody sat down and we were all eating with our hands, and I was like, this isn't that hygienic, I mean, it's not very healthy. Everybody's
you,
just grabbing, each person
yes.
grabbing.
You know, yeah, from what I hear that every person go around, go abroad or live outside in European countries or in United States, uh, they must do this public and dishes there. They must feel that they eat something. It's something public, but they want to eat it as they taste it there in Saudi Arabia. So they do
Yeah.
it and they eat it like there because they miss the way. Maybe when if they eat in visit some people here and eat it, yes, they will eat and little try to use spoons,
Hmm.
be gentle,
Hmm.
but because they are far away from their
From their homeland, right?
home,
Uh-huh.
yes, they
Yeah, no.
feel they want to eat like the traditional way,
Hmm.
and they stick in that.
No, kapsa is delicious. I mean, even my mother, who is not Arabic, I mean, at all. She lived in Saudi for maybe, I don't know, 5 years. When I was born there, she was living there, and she still enjoys making it. For example, she makes a smaller version, maybe like if we have guests, she makes one dish that's Indian, or maybe one dish that's more kind of Bangladeshi Indian. And if people say that they really like chicken, then she makes a small dish of kapsa as well, so that people can try and they can say, "Oh, this is really delicious," or "This is, maybe I like the Indian food more." So there's a lot of variation actually, and it's really
Yes,
nice to see that.
yes.
Gabriel, how's it going, my friend?
Hello, my friend. I'm fine.
Good, good, good. You got a guitar in your hand, man. You want to start playing a song?
Yes, I was playing.
You're playing. Awesome, man. So let's get started. I'm glad you joined, Gabrielle. Today we are going to talk about the present perfect tense, right? So what do we mean by the present perfect tense? The present perfect tense is used for three different conditions, okay? The first condition is to talk about an experience that we have had in the past, okay? That we have had in the past.
Mm.
So, for example, the structure of this, when we talk about the structure of the present perfect, it's always the subject plus either the word has or have, and then the verb in the past participle, right?
Mm.
So the subject plus, depending on the subject, has or have, and then the past participle. So
Mm.
this is what the construction looks like. I'm just going to quickly type it here for you guys. So for example, the subject can be I, you, Jenny, Gabrielle, Emmy, whatever, and then has or have plus a verb in the past participle form. So for example, one example of this is, for example, she has uh, she has read for 1 hour. Okay? She has read for 1 hour. We're talking about
Mm.
she. We're using the verb has, and then the past participle of read is read. Even though it's spelled the same way, the pronunciation is different. So she has read for 1 hour. Emmy, give me an example of another sentence that uses uses the present perfect tense, and let's use the subject we.
We. Okay.
Yeah. So it can be about anything. We can talk about, for example, let's talk about food. We were talking about food, right? So you can say something that you want about food, but let's use we, and then the verb can be anything you want.
Okay.
Sure.
We have ate fish, seafood yesterday.
We. It's not going to be ate, right? Because what's the past participle of eat?
Eat.
Right? It's not ate or eat. It's a little different.
Eat. I don't know.
We have eaten.
Eaten, yes.
Eaten, right? We have
Yes.
eaten seafood before or last night.
Okay.
Right? Something like that. So the past participle aspect of this is a little bit more confusing because sometimes you need to review the past participles a little bit before you can start doing the present perfect. But it's easy. Once you learn the different past participles, it's not that difficult. Gabrielle, give me an example. Let's talk about music. You can use any subject. Let's talk about music for yours.
Paul McCartney has made a lot of songs.
Paul McCartney has made a lot of songs. Fantastic, right? So what is the past participle in that case that you use, Gabrielle?
The name of the book.
Yeah. What was the past participle in that sentence? So Paul McCartney was the subject. Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Past participle was made. So Paul McCartney, subject, has made lots of songs. So you can all of these examples that we talked about were experiences that we have had in the past. So Emmy said, I have eaten seafood last night, or I have eaten seafood before. Gabrielle said Paul McCartney has written many great songs, has made many great songs, right? The second way we can use the present perfect tense, the second way we can use the present perfect tense is to talk about new information, okay? Still the same construction. This rule does not change, okay? But the first time we talked about an experience we had in the past, now we can talk about new information, right? So for example, Gabrielle has bought a new guitar, okay? Gabrielle has bought a new guitar. What is the past participle in that sentence, Emmy?
Got. I think it's.
Well, it's Gabrielle has bought a new guitar.
Bought. What's the word?
Bought.
Buy. It's buy. Bought.
Yeah, exactly.
It's buy. Yes.
So it's the past participle of buy, right?
Yes.
So what does the sentence mean then? Gabrielle has bought a new guitar. What does that mean? That Gabrielle.
That's he bring a new guitar.
Yeah, that he purchased one, right? That he paid for one, that he got one, right? So
yes.
Buy, bought, those are the same things. I mean, to buy something, of course, you can say I buy something. You can say in the past tense he bought something, or in the present perfect he has bought something, right? They all mean the same thing. They're all just different forms of the verb buy, right? So
we use the same past participle for that?
We use the past participle for the present perfect tense, yes. So this entire sentence that we were saying...
So it's the same rules, right?
Yeah, it's always the same rule. So this rule, subject plus has or have, plus the past participle, that doesn't change.
Okay.
As long as we're making the present perfect tense. So I know these words are confusing. There's a lot of English, present perfect, past participle, all this stuff. But we are designing the present perfect tense, and these words are past participle verbs. Bought, eaten, made, seen, right? These are all different ones. So Gabrielle, give me an example of a new, something like a new. Give me a sentence using the present perfect that tells me that something new happened. Like I said, Gabriel has bought a new guitar. So you can change it. You can make it anything you want.
Okay. Let me think.
Sure.
The player has made the goal.
The player has made a goal. Fantastic, right? So this is a new event. You're watching a game. Somebody asks you, hey, what's going on, Gabriel? The player has made a new goal, right? Or instead of made, another really good word for sports is scored, right?
Scored, yes.
The player has scored a goal, right? So that's something that you can say. And scored is the past participle that we're looking at here, right?
I remember this because I play FIFA football.
Yeah, exactly.
And
FIFA.
the narrator says all the time.
Yeah. Which FIFA do you play?
13 and
2013.
soon 14 they will release it. I think next 10 September 10.
Yeah, coming up, man. Tuesday. That's Tuesday.
Yes, I will play, sure.
Oh man, dude, so many people are getting crazy for those games now. It's funny for me because I like people who play soccer and also play, like, actually play soccer and also play soccer in a video game, right? Because they understand
like
the game. Yeah, exactly, like you. But I know so many friends who just play soccer on the video games.
Yes.
And they don't go outside ever.
Yeah. Here we play soccer in weekdays, and in weekends we play FIFA with friends on the internet.
Nice. It's a good mix.
Xbox.
Yeah,
Yes.
Xbox, PlayStation probably, right? All that stuff. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so now the third way that we can use the present perfect is if we are talking about something that started in the past, is happening now, and probably will continue into the future, right? So this is an involved scenario. Something that began in the past is continuing and will possibly continue into the future. So this is, for example, if you want to talk about maybe a period of your life, right? Started in the past, you're in it right now, and it will probably continue into the future. What you're doing today, what you're doing this week, will probably not change very dramatically next week or next month, right? So you can say something like, my mother has lived alone for 6 years, right? My mother has lived alone for 6 years. She started living alone a long time ago. She is living alone, and probably tomorrow, next month, she will still be living alone because she's been doing it for 6 years, right? So this is another scenario that we're looking at. So give me an example of something like that, Gabrielle, where it's an event that starts in the past, is continuing in the present, and will probably continue into the future using this present perfect.
Yeah. My friend has been studying at the same college.
My friend has been studying at the same college, right? Fantastic. He has been studying, which means that he started, he's still doing it, and probably in the upcoming future, in the immediate future, he'll still be studying, right? And you can add, for example, a time to it if you want, right? So you can say, my friend has been studying. Go ahead.
Since 2010.
Yeah, my friend has been studying in the same university and the same college since 2010, right? So it gives the audience more understanding. Like, okay, oh wow, 2010. It's been 3 years, you know. Emmy, give me an example of that, of the same kind of sentence using the present perfect. You can talk about anything.
Okay, can I? Can I talk about something get fired?
Yeah,
For
sure.
example, the building is firing. It's start from few hours. It's continuous now, and can I use it for a short time, not for a few months or few
Yeah,
minutes?
you can use it for a short time. Yeah, I mean.
Okay, the building has fired.
So what's the verb here? Has is good, but what's the verb that you want? You want the past participle.
The fire, but not as a noun, as a verb. It's firing, I think, but it's not correct.
So
it's fire.
I can help you.
I think it's fired.
It's not going to be fired, right? So you can say it two ways. You can say the building has been on fire for 3 hours, whatever. So has been on fire, or so been is the past participle. Or you can say has been on fire is probably the best way to say it, actually. You probably don't want to say it any other way. It's going to be more confusing. Has been on fire is the best way to say it.
Okay, the building has been on fire for since 3 hours.
So you can say the building has been on fire since 3 hours ago.
Yes.
Ago. Or you can say the building has been on fire for 3 hours.
Yes.
Right? So for 3 hours, or since
for 3 hours.
Ago. For 3 hours is more natural.
Yes.
Right? Since 3 hours ago is a little bit crazy. It's not as natural to say that, right? So you can say, for example, the building has been on fire for 3 hours. My mother has been in the hospital for 2 days. My sister has been studying for 3 months, right? So that's a nice way to kind of wrap it all in. And then you can also, using the present perfect, you can make questions about what people have done, right? And you can use ever. You can use the word ever. Have you, so Gabrielle, have you ever been to Sao Paulo?
Yes, 4 times.
Yeah, right? So you can say, yes, I have been to Sao Paulo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
that way...
I have been to São Paulo. To São Paulo, using to?
Yeah, to.
I've been to São Paulo 4 times.
Exactly. So in English, I know some speakers, they might think it's better to use in, right? I have been in Sao Paulo 3 times. But because we are asking if you have visited, have you ever been to Sao Paulo? The response is also going to be, yes, I have been to Sao Paulo, right? So that's how we make questions, right? So that's how we make questions. And we can make questions using the present perfect tense. So Emmy, ask me a question using that same format, right? And this is the structure, actually. I forgot to write the structure. For the question, the structure is has or have, plus a subject, plus you can say ever, and then the past participle. Have you ever been to Mecca? Have you ever been to New York? Right? Have you ever been in love? Right? Have you ever been
so been is it's just like a past participle. It's not a main verb here.
Which one, right? Which verb?
Ever been. You said.
Yeah. So been is the past participle, right?
Yes.
We
so
saw
we
it
can't
in the
change
example.
it.
In this case, yeah, we're not changing it because, for example, in the question about the fire, we saw the same thing, right? Have you?
Yes.
The building has been on fire. Have you ever been to Mecca? Have you ever been in love? Right?
Yes.
Have you ever? All those kinds of things. So, yeah, that works really well. So ask me a question like that, Emmy. Using this last construction that we looked at, this last structure.
Have you ever eaten
Fantastic. And then?
Saudi dishes?
Yes, yes, I have eaten Saudi dishes, right? Fantastic. That's what we're looking for. So the past participle of eat is eaten, which is exactly right. That's what you said. So great job with that. Any questions, guys, on the present perfect tense that we are looking at? Gabrielle, any questions on this?
I was talking with my mic mute. So.
No worries, man. But do you have any questions on this stuff, or Emmy, any of you guys?
No, I think I had a lot of doubts with this subject, but now I think I'm really familiarized.
Nice, nice.
Yes.
That's really good. And Emmy, did you have a question? I'm sorry, I think I interrupted you.
No.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
No,
all right, so let's get started, guys. We're going to read a very interesting article today. So, you know, in this environment today, in the modern world, right, I live in the United States, and I know how difficult it might be for people who are outside the United States to understand how the United States operates in the wider world, right? So the United States obviously gets involved in many conflicts, right? Many times without the consent of the people of the United States. Many times when there is popular support against any kind of action, military action for example, the United States still does military action, still performs military action. The latest example of this is Syria. Right now, President Obama and his, all of his allies are saying that within the next few days to maybe 1 week, something will happen in Syria, and God knows how many people will die, right? So one of the things that the United States has done in the past, which just very recently was made public, was in 1953, so 55 years ago, I'm sorry, more than that, like 60 years, 58 years ago. No, 1953 is exactly 50 years ago. I'm sorry. I'm just confused today. Can't talk. No, wait, hold on. 47 and 13. 60 years ago, right? I'm sorry. So yeah, 1953 is 60 years ago. 60 years ago, the CIA was involved in a coup in Iran. So Iran is a country, obviously, that is, a lot of people are always thinking, oh my God, Iran, like, enemy, Middle East, oh my God, whatever, right? In 1953, Iran had a democratically elected prime minister, a guy named Mohammed Mossadegh, right? And this guy was very popular. Okay, he wanted to nationalize the oil industry in Iran. The oil industry at that time was the most prosperous oil industry in the country. I mean, one of the most prosperous industries in that country. Even today, for example, in Saudi Arabia, in Iran, in a lot of the other countries in the Middle East, oil makes the most money in their economy. And the British were controlling the oil in Iran. Mohammed Mossadegh said, we will not allow the British to control our oil. This oil is for Iranians because it is under our land, right? As a result, the British were very frustrated, and with the help of the United States, they decided to remove Mossadegh, and they installed the Shah, the king of Iran, in his place. The king was technically not very popular, but he was put in his place when Mossadegh was overthrown. Mossadegh was kicked out, the king was put in his place. So the article that we're talking about today describes how the CIA, 60 years after the fact, maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, finally said that yes, we were part of this coup. We were involved in the coup that brought down Mohammed Mossadegh. So I am going to paste this article, guys, in the link here. And what we are going to do is I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see it. And at the same time, let's see if we can get this to work properly. All right. Do you guys see my screen? I think it's Emmy right now. Okay. So I'm going to switch my screen to the foreign policy newspaper where I got this article. And let me know if you guys can see my screen properly. Oh, crap. Yikes. Okay. Not fun, not fun. Can you guys open it successfully? I think this magazine actually requires a membership.
I'm opening here.
You guys, okay, so Gabrielle's got it open. Emmy, see if you can open it. what I might have to do is read it maybe in another way.
I have a trick that I can hide the window that
This pop-up?
yes.
Okay. What I might have to do is actually, I might have to switch to another article because this one I can't read it. So, do you guys mind if I switch the article real quick, guys? I apologize for that. Okay, let's do that actually. Let's do that, guys. I know Gabriella has a nice trick, but I unfortunately don't have that trick. So let's go to instead, guys. Seems like it's similar. It's a Russian newspaper. So we will start with that. And I actually like the pictures in this article more than the other one. So we'll start with this, and if you guys can see it, let me know. Do you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So CIA finally admits it masterminded Iran's 1953 coup. And here we see pictures of the coup. On the 60th anniversary of the 1953 military coup in Iran that overthrew the government of radical nationalist Mohammed Mossadegh, the U.S. has declassified documents detailing how the CIA's secret operation brought the country's Shah back to power. American and British involvement in Mossadegh's ouster has long been public knowledge, but today's posting includes what is believed to be the CIA's first formal acknowledgement that the agency helped to plan and execute the coup, the U.S. National Security Archive said. Monday's publication, under the U.S. Freedom of Information Act, came as something of a surprise, since most of the materials and records of the 1953 coup were believed to have been destroyed by the CIA, the archive said. The CIA said at the time that its safes were too full. The newly revealed documents declassify documents about CIA's TP Ajax operation that sought regime change in Iran through the bribery of Iranian politicians, security and army high-ranking officials, and massive anti-Mossadegh propaganda that helped to instigate public revolt in 1953. So I'm going to skip these next two paragraphs because we don't care. This one right here. In April 1951, Iranians democratically elected the head of the National Front Party, Dr. Mohammed Mossadegh, as Prime Minister. Mossadegh moved quickly to nationalize the assets in Iran of the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, the forerunner of today's BP, a step that brought his government into confrontation with Britain and the U.S. Britain's MI6 military intelligence then teamed up with the CIA and planned, elaborated, and carried out a coup that ousted Mossadegh in August 1953 and returned Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi to power. Okay? So essentially, the rest of this article talks about what happened in the aftermath of that conversation. This is the Shah, so this is the Shah of Iran in 1974, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. This guy was essentially the king of Iran, right? So he came back to power after Mossadegh was kicked out. And when we read history, we actually find out that Mossadegh was in house arrest. Okay, so the government took him out of power, put him in house arrest, and said that he cannot leave his house. So he died in his house. The last 3-4 years of his life, he was forced to be inside his house, and he died in his house. They buried him in his living room.
Oh.
They didn't even let him be buried in a normal cemetery because the government was so worried that people would come out, and because people loved him, right? People would come out and they would cause a major scene, you know, protests and things like that in the street. So he was buried in his house. That's how much they were, you know, the government was afraid of him for some time. So any questions about this article, guys? We're going to talk about some of the questions and practice the present perfect. But before we get to that, Any questions about this article so far?
Maybe
Sure.
historical doubts, but it's a deep question.
Go ahead. No, absolutely.
No, it's about the whole history because it's only a brief. I don't know. I think I will search more after class.
Yeah, Mossadegh was a good guy, you know. I mean, I personally studied a lot about Iranian history. You know, I have read both sides of the story, and from an objective standpoint, I'm not Iranian, but from an objective standpoint, I think that what he was doing for the country of Iran in 1953 was putting the country in the right direction, right? He was a democratically elected person. He was very popular, and he wanted the best for his people. And because he was essentially on the different side of the field from the United States and Britain, the United States and Britain could not tolerate that, and they decided to kick him out, right? And what did that cause? That caused this Shah Reza Pahlavi. He came back, and people didn't really like him, right? A lot of the people uh, who lived in Iran at the time, they were afraid of him because he had a very strong secret police called Savak. If you want to read about this, Gabriel, you can read about it later. Savak,
Okay.
Savak is in Persian. It's Sazaman Etelat va Amniyat Keshvar, the State Security and Intelligence Organization, National Security and Intelligence Organization. And Savak was known to be always used torture. I mean, anybody that spoke against the Shah was, you know, they were killed, they were, you know, harmed, their family members were threatened, right? So Savak, people didn't really like the Shah and didn't like Savak a lot. But, you know, what happened? So more and more people started to get upset with the Shah. Millions of people started to get upset with America. And then in 1979, Khomeini, the bearded guy, right? Everybody knows his picture. Khomeini came. He was also exiled, so he was Iranian, but because he spoke against the Shah, he was kicked out. And in 1979, he came back to Iran, right? And that's when the Islamic Revolution happened. And ever since then, since 1979, Iran has been an Islamic republic. It has not been an empire. It has not been, you know, what it was before. So it went from a democracy to a monarchy. So it was a democracy under Mossadegh, then it went to a monarchy under the Shah, and then it became an Islamic republic in 1979. So many changes within a very short amount of time. Some of my friends there who are Iranian, their parents lived through all three of these stages, right? So when they were younger, maybe when they were in their when they were teenagers, they lived under Mossadegh. Then they lived under the Shah. Then they lived under, you know, the Islamic Republic. So it has been a very difficult transition for a lot of Iranians, and the generation now, the young people now, they also have a lot of, they have hopes for the future. You know, they hope that maybe things will get better between the United States and Iran, and that, you know, the situation gets easier.
Why do United States enter in every country? I don't understand it.
No one knows, man. I mean, well, actually, I lied. People know, but there is something to gain. There is something to gain from this that I don't know about, you don't know about, the average American doesn't know about this, right? People are, I mean, politics is politics, you know? I mean, who knows what is happening behind the scenes? Is this for humanitarian reasons? Is this for nationalist reasons? Is this for bigger political reasons? Nobody knows, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's very difficult to say because, I mean, for me, you know, when the president says, for example, that there is a red line, Obama has said there is a red line that, for example, President of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, he used chemical weapons, and that was a red line. Okay, so I guess there was no red line when he killed people for the last 2 years. Like maybe, so that wasn't a red line. I guess that was a green line, right? So it doesn't matter that all those hundreds of thousands of people died, children running away from their families, starving kids in the street. That didn't matter to the United States. Now that they have used chemical weapons, everything changes, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, did the other people who weren't killed by chemical weapons, maybe their deaths don't matter as much?
Yes.
Right?
Do you know that Dilma Rousseff is in the United States now?
I did not know that. What's she doing here?
Because Barack Obama in the United States was spying. You know.
Oh, on Brazilians, right?
Yes. Did you
Yeah.
know about that?
I heard about this story. I did.
Yes. And Dilma asked him to give an explanation about it.
Well, she could have called him. She didn't have to come here.
No, yes, because this meeting was scheduled before.
Oh, okay, okay.
But
Yeah.
it happened before she traveled,
Uh-huh.
and now she took this opportunity to make this subject up again.
Uh-huh. Obama doesn't have any time. He called me 5 minutes ago while I was talking to you guys. Obama does not have any time for Jilma today. I'm sorry. Obama called me and said, Farhan, يعني, I am busy with Syria. You know? So I mean this is the issue right now, right? I mean we laugh about this, but really the United States from a foreign policy perspective has made a lot of interesting decisions in the last 60 to 75 years, especially in the Middle East. Right? Nobody knows. So I kind of wanted to use this article to be a way that we have a conversation about, you know, what do we feel about this? I mean, Syria, we already saw Afghanistan, we already saw Iraq, now we see Syria, and who knows? I mean, is this just a game that we're going to play with people's lives and money and, you know, all of this, you know, I mean, I don't know what to say, honestly. It's a very difficult time, and most Americans are very skeptical of anything that this government is saying that they will do. Nobody trusts anybody anymore. You know, that's the bottom line. People just don't trust anybody. We can't trust our government. You know, Obama got reelected. Everybody thought he was going to help the United States internally, and now he's saying, you know, I mean, his goals are everywhere. His goals are not just in the U.S., and we wanted him, at least I wanted him, many people my age who don't have great jobs, who just graduated university maybe 2 years ago, 1 year ago. We want good jobs, a good future for us here, and not so much of this foreign policy stuff, you know. So anyway, I talked a lot, but did you guys hear about this? Have you guys heard about this coup before this article? Did you guys hear about this?
Actually,
No.
this is the first time I read or I heard about that,
Uh-huh.
and I was so shocked. It was so shocking for me. I like to read something like that. I just read about the Shah and something after that, but before it I didn't know. Actually, it was so shocking for me, and thank you for giving me that information. I will read
Sure.
it back.
Sure, absolutely. The
But
best way
it's
to read about
so
this,
hard in English.
you can
So
read about
I
it in
will
Arabic.
translate it.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can find it in Arabic. Yeah.
Yes.
Operation Ajax is the name that it was given by the British, and now we know the CIA also was involved. So if you search on Wikipedia, ask Sheikh Google, Operation Ajax is the best way to find out the information, because this entire operation, how was Mossadegh defeated? How was he overthrown? All of it was actually in
Yes.
English we call it Operation Ajax. So.
It's so sad story.
Yeah, I mean, people had hope, right? Many people,
One of
even today.
most sad stories we heard, and the United States involved in it.
Hmm I'm sure we're involved in a lot more. I mean, if you
Yes.
in the early 1900s and the 1800s, the amount of like the activity that the United States did in Latin America, like in Mexico, Guatemala, in other
Mm.
countries there, was shocking. Shocking. I mean, controlled entire countries, like, became corporations. Like, we controlled, no, I shouldn't say we, the United States controlled so many millions of people's lives were economically tied to bananas or crops, right? So La República Banana, as they call it in Spanish, right? Nicaragua, Guatemala, these countries were massive farms. Their people were not getting much money, but their dictators were, supported by the United States, and there was no democracy, but they were loyal to us. And in the Cold War, everything changed because you had Fidel Castro in Cuba, and you had all of the entire world was against the communists. The entire Western world was against the communists. So anybody who was a communist, America immediately became their enemy, right? So
Yes.
Che Guevara and all the people. I mean, you look at the historical record in the 20th century, and now in the 21st century, it does not get more. I mean, it's intriguing, but it's also so depressing at the same time reading what has happened.
Yes.
So, Gabriel, I'm sorry, I just kept talking. This isn't meant to be a lecture, guys. It's meant to be a conversation. But what is your reaction to this? You hadn't heard of this before, right?
Unfortunately, we don't study well about the Middle East
Middle
history.
East.
What is very sad because I would like to know more about it. And curiously, this weekend I was talking with a colleague of mine, and he is very wise, and he knows a lot of Middle East history.
Yeah.
And I'm getting interested to know more about it. And because of it, I said to you that I will study more about this subject because I think there is a lot of history uh, content about Middle East that I don't know yet. I was talking with him about Palestine and Israel because the most people here in Brazil doesn't understand what is happening right there because the only thing we know is that they have a war that seems like it will not finish never. We only know that, and I've started reading about it and talking with my friend. I'm really interested. So because of it, I don't have too much to add in this conversation because I don't know the sufficient.
The Palestinian-Israeli conflict, I mean, you can spend a lifetime studying that. There are entire classes and courses and seminars, and you can even get a degree. Like some people get a degree in Middle Eastern politics with a concentration in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Yes. So they spend 4 years academic study, or maybe they get a master's or a PhD just studying the dynamic between these two peoples, Israelis and Palestinians.
And I got surprised because at the end of any story, there is always a separation between like people who are communists and I don't know left side.
Leftists, yeah.
Yes, and the people who are from the right side, that like United States and Jews. Always at the end of any story, there is this separation.
Yeah, I mean, when we were kids, right? We grew up with the idea of good guy versus bad guy, right? Comic books, cartoons, everything that we do, movies that we watch, there's a concept of a good guy versus a bad guy, right? And living where you live, that determines where, your society, your upbringing, your culture determines who you think is good and who you think is bad, right? So there's always two sides to the story, but looking at it from an objective standpoint, studying this stuff, really will give you more of an understanding. Where do the Palestinians stand on the issue? Where do the Israelis stand on the issue? Currently, in this century, a lot of it is about where does America stand? Where do Middle Easterners stand? And it's difficult because I personally, I was born in the Middle East. I have cultural ties to the Middle East, but I'm also very much, culturally American. So it's these things are difficult, and the problem is education.
For us,
yeah.
Even for us, because Brazil is a kind of strange country. Because we have some fame of leftist country, but if you know well the country, we are very conservative, and we have a kind of war, a culture war here, because there are a lot of leftists, and at the same time a lot of people with conservative minds. And we are in the middle. We don't understand well what's happening in a more general view. I don't know if you understand.
No, I understand. People who are in the middle are usually in the worst position. They're in the most difficult position because being in the middle, when there's so much pressure to be on the right or so much pressure to be on the left, you might not be in a good position. Politically, in many societies, you have to choose: am I with the right? Am I with the left? Right? And it causes many problems. I mean, but fundamentally for me, I think education is what's important, right? I mean, if people don't understand, if people don't learn history or learn how societies changed and how they were impacted, no one's going to know. We're going to make the same mistakes again.
I think this is the most important now, that everyone must have do his own researches and reads and know the information, not from just only the media or the newspapers. No, Sheikh Google is here, and a lots of articles and a lots of boxes are telling the both sides of the truth. So, but the problem, I think it's with us, because we didn't learn how to fetch the information and how to search it, and we are actually lazy to know the truth.
I agree.
Just looking for the medias, and this is the most curse, I think. It's for most of people here or in United States, in every word. They just want to see what they want to show in media, and okay, accept that, okay, just only this. But at the end, it's if we fetch and if we search and if we read by our own selves, I think we will find the huge truth that is not discovered.
Exactly. Each person is, entitled, has a right to their own opinion, right? Nobody can say, for example, I am better than you because I am right, you are wrong, whatever. We each have our own opinion, but the situation is really that, a lot of people, they turn on the TV, they're watching CNN, khalas. That's it. They don't want to do anything else. That they're done. The information that they receive from the news media, that is sufficient for them. And the media is sometimes it's misinformation, right? Sometimes it's trying to change your mind to think a certain way. If you watch a leftist channel versus if you watch a conservative channel versus if you watch some, maybe a channel in the middle, right? So, just a few days ago, Gabrielle sent me an article on Facebook that there are now a lot of journalists in Brazil who are street journalists. They are independent journalists. They're doing, they're taking pictures with their cameras. They're reporting the news on the ground, right? And now, Global TV, which is a major channel in Brazil, they are starting to follow these news stories now because they realize that these kids are doing a better job reporting the news than they are, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's all about citizen awareness, citizen journalism now. Everybody has an iPhone or a camera phone. Everybody has access to the internet, access to Google, you know. I mean, there has never been a better time to be an educated world population, right? I mean, books are...
It's an open world, yes.
It's an open world. So, I mean, it's sad that even with all of these resources, we are so close-minded and we don't know so much information. You know?
Yes.
I don't know. I'll stop talking now. You guys have any questions about what we talked about, or anything about maybe the history, the culture aspect of this, or anything else? I like talking. Honestly, I like talking. You guys can probably tell I like talking. So feel free,
honestly,
please. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not participating. Well, because I'm having a pretty conversation here.
Nice, nice.
And
okay.
I'm only hearing, I'm only listening, but I'm not contributing well. But
No
about the class, about grammar and the general subject, it's clear for me.
Great, thanks, Gabriel. And Emmy, any questions from you about what we talked about, the grammar or this Mossadegh stuff, or Iran and the U.S. and Syria and politics?
Actually, it's the first time I enter in politics subject. So it's I don't have a few. I have just only few words and vocabularies. But this is actually this is the main idea for me, or main goal to enter Karingo. So I can really read a lot of this and try to discuss this and try to make conversations and improve myself to talk about these issues, because I don't wanna be. I like to discover the truth. I like to say what's my opinion about this stuff, but I don't have words.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think you're doing a really good job, just sharing your ideas in the two classes last night and also tonight. You've done a good job. You are definitely reaching that state. As you practice more, as you learn more words, and as you speak to other people, you will develop more and more vocabulary.
Yes, and I discovered that the rules and the what's the verbs and the what is the name of the
past participle and stuff like that.
Yes, these rules.
The present perfect tense.
Yes, all these. I discovered that it's so important. I was thinking that it's not important to know it or to study it. All the rules, I forget the word. All the rules. I was thinking that
all the grammar rules.
Yes, the grammar. Yes, all the grammar rules. I was thinking that it's not important in conversations, but from yesterday to until now, yes, I discovered it's so important to know how to the grammars, to know how to speak, not just saying something and sentences without it. Yes. So it's so important.
And maybe you'll see different styles with other teachers, but I tend to speak very professionally, even in a normal sense. Even with my friends, I tend to speak formally, speak more professionally. So other people, for example, they don't care so much about the grammar rules. Maybe they enjoy speaking in a more relaxed way with their friends or with their family, with people that are nearby, the people that they know. But for me, I tend to be different. So you should also explore other teachers on Colingo, other people who are teaching English, or that you want to have a good conversation in English with. Because for me, you're only going to get one perspective, right? You're going to get like a very formal English perspective, and I tend, as we can probably ask, we can ask other students as well as, Gabriel. He's been in a bunch of my classes. I tend to focus on history, on travel, on culture, those kinds of things. I don't talk about like games or like sports and stuff like that much. So to get those other perspectives, definitely reach out to as many teachers and other people to get good conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be honest, they all they all are good, and yes, they concerned about the grammars. So it's a good idea. It's a good. We must do it. Yani I must do it, and I must learn it a lot to make that's help me in conversations.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's definitely going to help. You're going to increase your confidence. You're going to be able to. The most important thing in learning a language is confidence. Okay? Like, wallahi, it's confidence. If you don't have confidence, you're not going to be making any improvement because you're going to be shy or you're going to think, oh, if I speak, then maybe I'm making a mistake, right? Well, you can only learn by making mistakes. Like when I started learning other languages, I made mistakes all the time, right? And that's the only way you learn. That's the only way you develop your skills and you know where you stand. Because otherwise it's very difficult to know where you stand.
Yes.
Okay, awesome guys. Well, I had a great class. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. Tomorrow night I have 3 hours of classes. Okay, so just check my schedule. If you guys want to join for any of those three hours, feel free. And then on Sunday I have 2 hours of classes. So I hope to see you guys then.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty. Take care, Gabrielle and Emmy. Have a good rest of the day or night, depending on where you are. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
1 a.m. Thank you, teacher.
Yeah, no problems, Gabrielle. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
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 or park? Maybe was it near the port? Was it in the port area of Jeddah near Fish?
No, it's outside of Jeddah. It's in Medina Road. Yes, but it was so hot and so dry because the weather is not helping. Even though it was at night, but it was not nice for me.
Yeah, sometimes.
I don't.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't like to eat seafood, but I try it now because I didn't eat from a long time. Eat seafood, so it's not. No, I will not repeat that journey again.
Yeah.
We spent 3 hours for eating seafood. No.
3 hours, yeah, that's a long time to go, and especially
Yes.
especially if the weather was dry and hot and stuff like that. It's probably not the best experience.
Yes, we go to the night, but even though the weather was bad, also.
What kind of fish did you have?
That's a hard question. I think I don't know because
Yeah,
I don't like seafoods.
Yeah, the name in English is probably impossible to translate. But I mean, were they fish locally from the Red Sea, or were they maybe shrimp or other fish from maybe other areas?
Yes, they order a lots of kinds, but fish as the main dish. I think it's a big fish, but yes, it's from Red Sea.
From the Red Sea. Okay.
And I don't know, maybe it's shrimp, but they are so small. No, not shrimp. The red colors that
lobster.
Yes,
or crabs.
Yes, not crabs. Yes,
not crabs.
It's not. No, I think it's
prawns.
Like, I don't know the names.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Even though
them.
I don't know.
Hey, how's it going, Amy? Good to see you.
Yes, hello. Good morning. It's good evening in your time.
Yeah, good evening in my time and good morning in your time. How's everything going?
Fine, thanks. It's okay.
Good. That's good. Normally, today is a working day in Saudi, right?
No, they changed the vacations days.
So it's Friday and Saturday?
Yes, it's Friday and Saturday.
Not Thursday, Friday.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yesterday when you told that you have a lecture on Friday, I said, okay, it's Friday. Then I saw your schedule that you have. I said, oh yes, we are before you.
Yeah.
Yes, in the Middle East.
Exactly. You guys are one day ahead. So it's Saturday morning in Saudi, and it's still Friday night here in the U.S.
Yes.
So that's good. Did you do anything interesting recently?
Yes, we go to something like yesterday we go to eat dinner in the place. It's for eating fish.
So it's a seafood restaurant?
Yes, it's not like a restaurant. It's like farms or something more than a restaurant. It's like a garden, but have a lots of people.
Oh, okay. So maybe like an outdoor.
The names in Arabic also, because I don't like seafoods.
These are the three that I was saying. Like the small ones that are red, usually if they have like little things like pincers, yes. those are crabs. Lobsters have big like these kind of things. Those are lobsters. And prawns are small shrimp, very small shrimp.
Yes, I think it's prawns. So.
Prawns. Okay, so it's very small shrimp. Nice. Yes. That's good. People in my country, people from Bangladesh, we eat a lot of seafood. Seafood is probably our most important part of our diet because we live in a country with a lot of rivers and very close to the ocean. So everybody eats rice and seafood, but also chicken and sometimes beef, but mostly also a lot of lamb, but a lot of fish. I mean, if you compare, for example, with Saudi, definitely a lot more fish in our diet.
Yes. Actually, I asked the people there yesterday a question. Is the sea fish delicious than river fish or not? They say they don't know because they just eat the fish from the Red Sea. Because we don't have rivers to compare.
Yeah, to try the food from the river, yeah. There's a difference. There's a distinct taste. I mean, in the U.S., a lot of the fish comes from rivers and lakes, and a lot also comes from the ocean. There's a difference in taste. I think, personally, river fish found in rivers is actually more delicious, personally for me. But there are many types. I mean, fish from Alaska, for example, that we get that's in the ocean, that they bring, from far away. It's very expensive, but it's very delicious. I mean, Alaskan salmon. Give me 1 second. I'll actually show you. I have Alaskan salmon in my refrigerator. I just defrosted it for this morning. So give me 1 second. I'm going to show it to you.
Okay.